Booktube, Science Fiction Reads here with another book haul. Let's launch right in. I've got a stack of Gregory Benford here, Tides of Light and Across the Sea of Suns, both of which are from the same series. I read the first half of that series and I already have these, but these are nicer condition. And a few that I have not read of his: Artifact, which is not in great shape, absolutely massive, and In Alien Flesh, which I think is a short story collection. A lot of these are not in great condition. I bought a box of science fiction books off a guy, and the first half of them looked great, but as I got down to the bottom of the box, they were all moldy and water damaged, so that was disappointing. And then this one I think I'm most excited about, Beyond Infinity, which I don't think I heard about this because the synopsis really intrigued me. Sounds like hard SF space opera, very far future, last human. Some retro stuff. Rogers Lasney, Lord of Light. This is one I've wanted for years and just haven't come across a copy. This one's actually pretty decent. I've read his first 5 Amber books and Creatures of Light and Darkness, which was hard to understand but really good. Da edition of short story collection by Brian Aldiss. When they do a short story collection, they call it like the book of Brian Aldiss. I have probably 5 or 6 of these now for different authors. Colin Wilson's Spider-World: The Magician. This is the 3rd in the 4-book series. Now, I did recently read the first book, The Tower, which I really liked. I enjoyed this. Then I read The Delta, which just seemed like a slog. It was just... It could have been cut down to just a short story. It was mostly very repetitive. That was disappointing, so I don't know when I'm going to get around to this. Yeah, it was still good. I know Colin Wilson has a lot of... His older stuff is much better, apparently. When True Night Falls by C.S. Friedman. This is, I think, the 2nd in the Coldfire trilogy. The only thing I've read by her is, of course, In Conquest Born, which I really loved. That was years ago, and I still pick up her books every time I see them. I must have close to all of them, I would think. I got quite a few up there. Jerry Purnell, King David's Spaceship. Don't know anything about this. I don't know if I've read any Jerry Purnell. Most of the stuff I see on bookshelves at bookstores seems like military SF, which is not my thing. I do know he collaborates a lot with Niven, so I'm sure I'll read him one way or another eventually. The Star Kings by Edmund Hamilton. This is one I was interested in a couple years ago. Somebody was talking about this on BookTube. This is actually in pretty good shape. I think I've only read short stories by Hamilton. James White, All Judgment Fled. I think this is, yeah, Life Ending on Earth and a ragtag crew, maybe, something like that, escaping. One of the ones that's not in great shape that came from that box. Gordon R. Dixon, Way of the Pilgrim. I've only read one Dixon. It was an old Da, and it was absolutely terrible. But I think it was pretty early in his career, and it was, yeah, I got to give him a fair chance. So I'll hold on to that. Ben Bova, Orion. I haven't read much Ben Bova. Can't think of what I have read, but they're on my shelf somewhere. This is neat. I talk about this series all the time, and I keep buying different editions, but I've got all 3 from the Gaia trilogy now in the same edition. So I'll probably keep these. Get rid of the other paperbacks I have and just hold on to the book club edition of Titan that I recently bought. Now, a bunch of Samuel R. Delany, The Ballad of Beta 2, and Empire Star. 2 books in one. Dahlgren, which I have read. This will probably replace, I mean, this is not in great shape, but I'd rather have this old paperback, which feels like it weighs 5 pounds, than the other format I have, which is kind of an ugly book. Or maybe I'll get rid of it because I think I gave this a 3 out of 5. It was confusing on purpose. Couldn't tell what was going on. I know that's the point, but what else have I read? Nova. I read Nova by him. Triton. Stars in My Pocket, Like Grains of Sand. These are for the most part in good shape. Oh, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is 4 or 5 of his books. Babel 17, A Fabulous Formless Darkness, Time Considered as a Helix of Semi-Precious Stones, and I and Gomorrah. So these are actually novelettes and short stories for the most part. And The Fall of the Towers. I do have a copy of this, but I like this one. This is nicer. That was probably the best thing to come out of that box, actually, was those Samuel R. Delaney's. Here's something a bit different. This is a Folio Society edition of A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. This was $10. I originally bought it because I figured, well, I'll sell that on eBay because it's worth, you know, it sells for like 50 to 70 bucks. But actually, I haven't read it, and it's nice to have like a really nice edition. So I'm gonna keep it. I do enjoy a good Folio Society book. Getting down to the bottom, Ray Bradbury's The Martian Chronicles. I have a nice paperback edition, which I will get rid of now because, I mean, how do you pass up this amazing cover art? I mean, the book jacket is not in great shape, but the book itself feels like it's never been opened. Okay, here is Sterling E. Lanier's Hero Destine. This is a very rough condition book club edition of the first 2 in a never completed trilogy. But I've looked it up a few times and I've heard people talk about it. It has good reviews. People have good things to say about it. Plus, it takes place in post-apocalyptic Canada. And I mean, how do you pass up the cover art of this guy riding a moose, fighting, you know, little Morlocks or something? I wish I had a nicer edition, but this was $6. Couldn't pass it up. 2 to go. The Shattered Sphere. This is, I think, like books 6 to 9 of the Thieves World books. I think that's what this is. Just really nice. It was like $1, so I couldn't pass that up, but I'll have to find the others if I ever want to read it. And last but certainly not least, I bought this new Verna Vinci's The Children of the Sky. Now, I did recently mention on a community post that I was reading A Fire Upon the Deep, and that's probably my all-time favorite science fiction novel now. Certainly hard SF. I tried it twice in the past, like I said, and gave up on it for some reason. This time around, no issues. Absolutely loved it. Blew me away. So I bought this, but I put this on hold and I started reading the actual sequel, which is a prequel, A Deepness in the Sky. And I'm just over halfway, but I'm really slowing down because there's too much in there that could have been cut. Like, it's good and I'm enjoying it, but it's just too slow in parts. So that's kind of disappointing. I'm sure it's going to be a great ending. But I'm in a bit of a reading slump now. I don't think I've read anything in it for 2.5 days now. Still very excited about this because it's I think it takes place about 2 years after A Fire Upon the Deep. And I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping it would arrive in the mail by now, but I did order a first edition of A Fire Upon the Deep to replace my rough old paperback, and I cannot wait for that. So that's it. These were adding up. I've not been feeling well lately, or I'd have a bunch of other videos I have planned that I would be done. But more to come soon. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.